Previously on Prucon, the impersonator did not end up home. He landed in Go Animate.
This is one of the infamous themes used in those Kalo Gets Grounded videos.
Once again, he wasn't alone, as none other than Alden Moeller was there to help.
I have come follow you from the world of Ho-Town, New York.
While the impersonator was dismissive of Go Animate videos, Alden seemed to have a soft spot for them, for some reason.
Go Animate videos are much more personalized, they have more substance overall, and they are created with a much different mindset by completely different people.
In the end, it was none other than Caillou that stepped in to bring the two back to reality with a logo, of all things. And that's what you missed on Prucon.
Salutations, Homo sapiens! Make no mistake, Tyler the Creator is one of the few current artists whom I hold plenty of respect for. Over the summer, he went on to release a brand new album, Don't Tap the Glass, a relatively shorter project that I happen to enjoy quite a bit. However, it is a set of tracks that warrants little commentary, as Sir Creator himself has stated on record. So, naturally, the most fitting move would be to not discuss the new release at all, and backpedal to something older. I'm aware that sounds counterintuitive, but this will go somewhere.
When I get to snap, can you feel the light? I'm sorry!
May 17th, 2019, Sir Creator released IGOR, a pink album consisting of 12 tracks. To this day, IGOR is regarded as his most well put together and conceptually driven project, and many still declare it his best overall album, including myself. The planning and execution of this thing is just masterful, honestly. Many of the songs off this album are considered his best works ever, including track number 6. What is the 6th track, you ask?
Sometimes you gotta close the door to open a window.
New Magic Wand, of course, the most sinister piece on this album and my personal favorite. Actually, it's also Sir Creator's favorite too.
New Magic Wand. It's number 6 off my IGOR album. It's one of my favorite songs I've made today.
Perhaps his stance has changed since this moment, but he did consider it his best song of all time for quite a while. What's there not to like about it? Today's video is not going to be an analysis of the actual song, unlike my pilot video. You see, as a favorite song of his, Sir Creator performs it live as often as possible. I've noticed that with every passing year that it occurs, the format seems to change very slightly. So why not document those changes and make a ranking out of it? It is time to begin the New Magic Wand Performances tier list. Here's the tier list we'll be using. Why are the S and E tiers missing, and why are there pluses and minuses? Because I'm a college student, obviously. I am adhering to the grading policies of my university, as a true scholarly gentleman should.
Joe, you're being quirky.
Well, that is not a nice way to put it.
Still true though, buddy.
Anywho, A will represent the best of the best, F is only for the genuinely irredeemable, and you can infer the rest. We shall look at the performances in chronological order, going from the 2019 Apple Music performance to the 2025 Chromakopia World Tour. So, let's get it. Wrong album! On May 22nd, 2019, we were graced with the live album by the name of Apple Music Presents Tyler the Creator. It's an unnecessarily wordy title, but this is actually just a live performance of the IGOR album from start to finish. As a result, only 5 days after the release of the album, we would receive the very first live performance of New Magic Wand. As the first one, it mostly sticks to the conventions of the studio track, being a bit more low-key compared to later performances. It does introduce various musical conventions though, such as extending the bridge and removing its drums, and making the break before the final verse double the length. There is no breathing intro to this performance, and instead, Sir Creator speaks the song's opening line to start it.
Sometimes you gotta close the door to open the window.
In the studio track, the album's narrator, Mr. Gerard Carmichael, says it.
Sometimes you gotta close the door to open a window.
Sir Creator's delivery almost entirely replicates the studio track, though he does substitute 2 pronouns in the bridge.
Evaporate, we celebrate.
Evaporate, I celebrate.
Murder, she wrote.
He also screams the third verse out in a metal-like fashion, which would remain so for every following performance. He also does this before the bridge, which I do not believe has happened since. What an odd sir. The movement in this performance is notably a bit stiff compared to what would come next, minus his flailing during the third verse. One touch I appreciate is the way he sits down during the bridge. It's a relatively captivating moment. Lastly, I'll highlight the ending pose, as that seems to always change. He holds up a hypothetical gun to end this inaugural performance. Overall, a very solid introduction to the song in its live format, and this set the groundwork for every following edition. The movement does bring this down to about a B+, but that is not to be scoffed at.
Sometimes you gotta close the door to open the window.
Now, this is where it gets serious. On August 30th, 2019, the IGOR Tour commenced in Seattle, Washington. It lasted for a total 34 shows, with the finale taking place in Houston, Texas on October 26th. This tour would be when the performance of the song truly took shape. The breathing intro? Check. The microphone stand now being a component? Check. Sir Creator flailing about during the song? Check! Note how he starts the song, by the way, as there are 3 distinct opening dances to my knowledge. This is the first of the 3, being the one specifically used during the IGOR time period. The delivery of the lyrics obviously varies on a case-by-case basis, but it's generally a bit more unique from the studio track, especially during the chorus. Some notable alterations include skipping this line in verse 3 for punches, the repetition of together to get to the bridge, and the occasional swapping of pick to kill, which was inconsistent.
I'll pick you both.
By the way, Camp Flognall 2019 is being merged into this ranking, as it's essentially the same performance as the tour. What else is there to say? This is the quintessential version of New Magic Wand, the version that really set the standard. It may not be the most recognizable, but it does represent where the song got its iconic trademarks. A tier. The most well-known performance of the song, however, would come in 2020, the 2020 Grammy Awards, no less, on January 26th. Despite IGOR not being a rap album at its core, it won the award for Best Rap Album. Notably, Sir Creator's mother joined him on stage for that. How beautiful. Anywho, there would be a fresh performance of New Magic Wand that night, but it also included an additional segment, an a cappella of Earthquake, the most popular song from the album. This segment is performed flawlessly and just adds an extra layer. Then the breathing intro commences and the song proper comes on.
Close the door to open a window.
This performance bears a resemblance to that from the tour, but with even stronger energy and especially more theatrics. The lyrical aspect begins to further differentiate itself from the studio track in minor areas, particularly in how Sir Creator now interacts with the studio track more. The bridge is also substituted for an additional a cappella, a welcome change for this significant of a night. Also, just to throw it out, this is a clean version of the song with the swearing removed.
She's really messing up my frame.
I really appreciate the pure chaos that Sir Creator emits through this one. The collection of Igors joining him is fucking awesome, and this is my personal favorite moment.
Please don't.
That dance move is immaculate. It deserves more praise. The way the performance ends is also phenomenal, with Sir Creator now striking this pose and falling into a pit of fire. The last important note for this one would be relating to the final verse. Pay attention to the instrumental here.
I got a plan, but the walk in the pit, you can't understand on my heart. Eyes on the prize, got weight on my chest that I need to get off.
this stripped down version will become the new norm. So, I mean, this is a very obvious A tier, I believe. It is not my personal favorite performance, but it's the first one that most will consider when New Magic Wand is the topic. Come June 25th, 2021, and Sir Creator would release his 7th album, Call Me If You Get Lost. This would mark the end of the IGOR character, with Sir Baudelaire taking his place.
Are you fucking dumb?
Though there is one exception to this rule we'll explore shortly. The first performance I shall include from this era will be the 2021 Amazon show in Brooklyn. This is the second of the 3 opening dances, with the previous IGOR rendition being almost entirely phased out. There actually isn't too much to comment on for this specific performance. It's a relatively standard showcase of the song. I will note that Sir Creator seems to look up during a majority of the performance for a purpose which I'm not certain of. It would be greatly appreciated if a commenter could assist me there. Also, the final verse does not have the stripped instrumentals this time around. Anywho, B- is a fitting tier for this one, nothing too spectacular. However, the same cannot be said for his performance at the Lollapalooza Festival in Chicago. Sir Creator would appear on July 30th, 2021, with quite the impressive setlist to boot. He performs as Sir Baudelaire at first, then just as himself, but then IGOR's theme kicks on. At the breakdown, when Sir Creator returns to the stage, yup, he fucking brought IGOR back! The character! He's right there!
That genuinely seagulls.
I believe it might be one of the only instances where we see 2 of Sir Creator's personas in one night. As IGOR, he performs a couple of tracks, including New Magic Wand. Even the IGOR mannerisms return, with him doing the first opening dance and not the second. In fact, the entire showcase is very much more in line with the IGOR style and not the Call Me If You Get Lost style, which we will fully discuss in the next entry. Everything from the IGOR tour performances essentially applies here, with one minor difference being in this lyric.
I'll pick you both.
I choose you both.
It gets an A tier just like the previous tour, but bonus points for bringing the character back after an entire year. I have always been such a huge fan of how Sir Creator utilizes a different persona for each individual album. It really does add just an extra layer to the content. I wonder what it would be like if I ever pulled off something as extravagant as that. In 2022, it was time for the Call Me If You Get Lost tour to commence. Lasting from February 10th in San Diego, California to August 3rd in Melbourne, Australia, New Magic Wand would most certainly be a part of the setlist. How does it fare, you inquire? Amazingly, in my humble opinion, this era was actually the best for the track, better than the IGOR era itself. Sir Baudelaire's energy in each individual performance of the song is more intense than IGOR's, with there often being extreme emphasis on lines that never had it before. To put it bluntly, he was not f***ing around this time. There was also a lyric change, but a consistent one.
I'll pick you both.
I'll kill you both.
This alteration appears in most of the tour, rather than being offhand like the choose line from before. He also sometimes just screams. Not very gentlemanly behavior, but again, this is Sir Creator. The new ending pose is also fantastic. Look at that face. Some argue it's even a bit creepy. This entire crop of performances is most definitely landing in the A tier, but there is one that stands out. March 31st, 2022, Los Angeles, California. This performance was part of the tour, so it should be included, right? Well, this show was also part of the Amazon show for 2022. I believe that fact differentiates it, and good, because this is my favorite performance of the track, period, ever. The intensity of this one is immeasurable, perhaps because he was aware that this was for Amazon, and he absolutely delivered. This is, by almost all accounts, the perfect rendition of the Call Me If You Get Lost style for New Magic Wand, to the point where I can hardly get into details. One minor touch I appreciate is the static added to the microphone during the bridge. I wish he did this more often.
Roll the dice. Hit a 7, show you right. Beginner's luck.
It's the one performance I immediately recommend alongside the Grammy Awards. There's just one minor problem. The camera work sucks. Amazon did a poor job at editing the angles in, making for some awkward moments like this. However, Sir Creator re-edited it to make a version with far better camera work, and this is my personal recommendation. His cut is far superior, the easiest A tier of all time, and the creme de la crop for me. Hey, there's the shuffle from before. My personal favorite of this Sir's dance moves lives on. While 2023 would see the release of a deluxe for Call Me If You Get Lost, it was overall a transitional year for Sir Creator, with no defining era to speak of. On November 11th, it was time for Camp Floggnall to finally return after a 3-year hiatus caused by the pandemic. We covered the 2019 edition earlier, so how does this version compare? I found myself relatively pleased here. Hey, he did the move again. The most striking elements here are the energy and the stage itself. I did just praise the ever-loving out of Amazon 2022, but this might actually be the most intense performance of the song ever. It's the only time I've seen him straight up scream during the third verse. He was absolutely feeling himself there. As for the stage, Sir Creator's set took place in what appears to be a junkyard full of scrapped cars, an element which he used to his advantage throughout the entire performance, including this track. However, before getting to that part, there's this. Holy shit, as if this Sir could not get any wilder, he has flamethrowers on his arms. This is the only time this occurs to my knowledge, and needless to say, it's epic. In order to compensate for the effort needed, he does not perform the bridge at all, but it does not subtract from the show in the slightest. Otherwise, it's a solid A- tier performance. I'll also quickly address the Coachella performance from April 13th, 2024, as it has the same vibes as this one. The only 4 differences are that there are obviously no flamethrowers, he personalizes the chorus for Coachella, he seems to be flying away for the ending pose, and this strange moment before the chorus begins.
Sam, don't leave, watch this. I'm telling you, trust me. Keep your motherfucking ass right there, homie.
Could someone explain this, please? It's also in the A- tier. For good measure, the same applies to ACL on October 6, 2024, though his scream into the third verse is especially powerful. Anywho, these performances represent the calm before the Chromakopia storm. Chromakopia! Chromakopia. Look, I will gladly praise it. It is an amazing project. However, the impact it had on Sir Creator's community was beyond restoration, let's just say. It actively makes it more difficult to enjoy this album, and by extension, don't tap the glass. But you can't have it all, can you?
Some of these fans are younger than Bastard, younger than Goblin.
Mind you, Goblin was released on May 10th, 2011, a mere 14 years ago. That's, well, concerning may not be the right word, but a rather strange occurrence. Sir Creator would appear once again for Camp Floggnall on November 16th, now in character as Saint Chroma. This would kick off the third main era of New Magic Wand performances, as of course, the song made a return. There's a completely unique opening move that was not seen again, though the pro footage doesn't do it much justice. The dancing style of the Chromakopia era is characterized by more abnormal and sometimes robotic movements, which I believe is most apparent during the tour, but that will come momentarily. This change in style is certainly reflected in this performance, though the vocal delivery is mostly the same. The notable difference this time is, yet again, in the bridge, which seems to receive the most variation.
I kill you both, I swear to God, girl, I kill you both. Yeah, I swear to God, I will kill you both. Swear to God, I kill you both.
This repetition is honestly pretty unique. I don't mind it at all. It also seems to cement the lyric change from pick to kill as a permanent addition. Minus this, the performance is just decent. I really did attempt to let it resonate, but it simply feels like the electricity of the previous eras is not as strong. This is not Sir Creator's fault at all. Chromakopia is his most successful album ever, and and was certainly the main attraction, and it just seems that it subtracted a bit of hype from New Magic Wand. It had been 5 years since IGOR. Of course it would eventually fizzle out, and let's not kid ourselves, Sir Creator is always full of energy. The energy is absolutely here, just with limited electricity. Big difference. The ending pose is a slight variation on the Call Me If You Get Lost pose, and honestly, I don't mind it very much. As for the tier, I am going to give this a solid B. Nothing wrong with it, but nothing mind-blowing either. February 4th, 2025. I was well into my first year. I even posted a video that day. A strange video. Anyway, this was the date that the Chromakopia World Tour began in St. Paul, Minnesota. It reached its conclusion very recently on September 21st in the Philippines. He did not perform the song in the very first show at St. Paul, but it first appeared in the following concert in Milwaukee. While the setlist began with St. Chroma, New Magic Wand was performed with no costume. In terms of the show, it's a mixed bag. Yes, I said it. You see, the Chromakopia World Tour was his most taxing tour ever, with 96 total performances, meaning that Sir Creator was clearly under a lot of pressure. Even though he consistently manages to perform with little hint of exhaustion, sometimes it's apparent that the passion for this specific song has washed up by now. The third of the main opening dances is very similar to the second, and honestly, I would have preferred if he did the move from Camp Flognaw for the tour as well. Some shows still have it, such as New York City, while others simply feel like a repeat. I don't personally believe it's an issue of the song being older now, but more that Sir Creator just allocates the excitement to the new content that Homo sapiens came for. The tour is extremely impressive, no doubt, but New Magic Wand lands on the C tier. It just feels too inconsistent to rank any higher. The final listing for this video shall be another combination of 3 which I find similar enough to merge: Lollapalooza 2025, Hinterland Music Festival 2025, and Outside Lands Music Festival 2025. You could argue that these 3 should be counted as part of the Chromakopia World Tour rankings, but since they technically are separate events, I will allocate a new spot. These are akin to some of the higher energy performances from the tour, albeit now featuring the style and decorations for Don't Tap the Glass. The album released on July 21st, and these 3 shows were in August, so consider these as the Glass Era representation. Otherwise, not much else to add here. What I said about the previous entry applies to this one, just a little bit better. I will say B- for all 3. There you have it, the official New Magic Wand performances tier list. Official because my opinions are the greatest of all. Seriously though, going through these brings up some interesting trends in my opinions that I hadn't previously noticed. First of all, the totality of the performances will earn a 10 out of 13 on my scale, as there really is no poor performance to speak of. Each one is wonderful, just to a different capacity. I believe the Call Me If You Get Lost era was the best for the song, followed closely by the IGOR era, and then the current eras lag behind. I honestly did not expect IGOR performances to be overshadowed like that, but the rankings don't lie.
Unlike you.
It's for the best! Anyway, again, my personal favorite goes to Amazon 2022, and I would probably label Grammys 2020 as the second best individual show. I also never really considered my disdain for the Chromakopia World Tour variant, but it's clearly there. Well, I can already feel the disagreements coming, and I am most certainly open to them. Feel free to share your own opinions. They will probably be less verbose than mine. Alas, I ask all of you to give the song and its performances another listen, and perhaps you may simultaneously enjoy yourselves.